What is up, YouTube? I've had some comments recently asking about how do I make bead locks for my off-road lawnmowers and whether or not they're real bead locks or not. And I'm here to tell you guys how that is done. And we'll tell you the difference between real bead locks, fake bead locks, rock rings, rim stiffeners, and what everything you need to know to either make yourself some or get somebody else to make them for you. So let's get right into it. All right, I got some examples here for you guys, and I will tell you the majority of actually every single wheel on my channel that is on one of my mowers that has bolts on the wheel is a true bead lock. If it's just got a ring like this or some beauty cool design and there are no bolts, it is a rock ring. So the difference between a rock ring or a rim stiffener, this is a factory ATV wheel or an aftermarket ATV wheel that you can buy. I did not put these rim stiffeners or rock rings. It's the same thing, rock ring, rim stiffener. What the purpose of these rings is to help strengthen the bead. So if you have a low air pressure tire that you come across a big rock, and this is how they get their names, is you hit that rock at high speeds and it compresses the tire all the way and smacks that rim, and it is liable to bend that rim in. Well, these rock rings or rim stiffeners, it does exactly that, is they stiffen the bead of the rim to help keep it from bending. Now a bead lock, on the other hand, consists of two rings, and usually the tire goes ahead and sits right in here, which this is considered the bead of the rim. The tire bead sits directly in this lip on the wheel. On a bead lock, see, this is a factory bead on a tire. The bead will actually sit on top of the rim and will get clamped together with another ring on the outside, just like this. So the bead is down here in between this outer bead lock ring and the wheel itself. I'll give you a little bit better of a demonstration here. So this is the outer bead, okay, and this is the inner ring on the wheel. So this is considered a single bead lock wheel because on the back side it's factory. The bead will sit on the wheel where it's supposed to, and on the outside this is a bead lock style wheel. Now this is a do-it-yourself situation. This is a ring that was cut and I welded it to here, and then this is your outer ring. So your bead of your tire sits right here, and then your outer ring goes and gets bolted all the way around and clamps that bead in there, so that way the tire cannot come off that wheel. So the benefit of this is if you get a flat tire or you're running super low air pressure, if you do not have bead locks, your tire is liable to come off of your rim and get all sorts of mangled and screwed up. If you have a bead lock, it clamps that bead in place so that cannot come off of the wheel. So if you're running like 1, 2, 3, 4 psi, and most of us on mowers are running 0 to 1 psi just because of the weight and the tire ply and stuff like that, that tire can no longer spin on that rim or come debeaded. Now obviously on the back side where there is not a bead lock, it is possible for the wheel or the tire to debead from that inner bead, but it's really not likely for that to happen. And with the bead lock, you get positive traction and you don't have to worry about slipping that bead on that wheel, ruining your tire, or having a tire come off the rim completely, leaving you stranded. Now on the golf cart, these are something that would be considered a rock ring or a rim stiffener. These are aluminum Polaris Scrambler 500 wheels that are 4x4 bolt pattern, which are great for lawnmower swaps. And I went ahead and drilled it 5x4.5 as well. It's not completely perfect, but it works. But that's besides the point. This is 3/16 aluminum, and I cut these out, made a little template for here, made a template for cutting out the center section, marked it out and drilled all of these, and then welded it to the rim. This is not a bead lock. This does not, if the tire went flat, it still has the ability for the tire to come off the wheel. This is just a rim stiffener, and mainly just for looks on my part. Then we'll come over here to Serene's mower, and these are rock rings, or what I like to call beauty rings, because these are only out of 14 gauge steel. Now literally anything is an upgrade from stock. So this, not only is it super thin metal, it will actually stiffen that rim. But for me personally, 14 gauge, which is like a 1/16 of an inch almost thick steel, is not that much of a rim stiffener, but I like the way that it looks. And same with the back. That's a 12-inch wheel with a 14 gauge rock ring, and like I said, it's more for the looks than the actual stiffening. And I'll show you the template for that as well. But they're just little hearts in the wheel, and it's 14 gauge just welded straight to the outside of the wheels. And same with the back. On Truffles actually has dual bead locks, and now what that means is not only does it have a bead lock ring on the inside bead, it has a bead lock ring on the outside. And same thing here. I did all this by hand on the plasma cutter. The only thing that I did not do was the outside ring and all the little holes for the actual bead locks. This was a solid plate that I got cut, and then I went ahead and made my stencil and traced all this out and did this all by hand. So it's a very much tedious work, but this is an example of a true bead lock, and not only a single bead lock but a dual bead lock. All right, and here's another set of rock rings. This was done for the Manfred Sears that I took up to King of the Trimmers, and this was my my little cheeky moves that I did. I made these, so I cut these out before the race. And literally all I did was write on here with a Sharpie, the King 2022, and followed it with the plasma cutter, Red 02 with the little R's. And just like I showed you, I put the little flat iron with the different distance holes, cut them out, and just welded them into the rim. So this is going to apply to a 12-inch riding lawnmower wheel. The majority of these inside lip diameter from here to here are all pretty darn close to the same. So this ring right here is one of the rings that we get plasmaed. Is 12 7/8 diameter. The inside diameter is 10 5/8, and then right on about center is roughly 11 7/16 of an inch on the bolt circle pattern. So you're gonna want 2 of these rings per wheel or per bead that you want to make into a bead lock. Now, if you're gonna go ahead and make something like this, you need 12 7/8. To make yourself a template like this, all you need to do is make the radius. You got to mark and drill the radius of your outside diameter, because it's going to pivot and rotate on that center hole. Literally, if you want to make any circle, doesn't matter what the diameter is, you cut that diameter in half and you drill your holes on that center. Say you want a 10-inch diameter circle, you're going to make this 5 inches on center, because whenever it rotates around that center point, you're going to be 5 inches over here, rotate 5 inches over here. That makes you a 10-inch circle. So it's really just a whole lot of planning, laying out your dimensions. And if you're not just doing solid rings like this, you gotta have, you can either freehand it, you can draw it up. And then this is pretty much how you install them. So you got the rings together, the bead in between the outer ring and the rim, and then basically all you do is go around and do it like you're tightening down a lug nuts on a car. Yeah. But start here, go here, 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 and then you're gonna go to the opposites, and then all the way around until you get all the bolts threaded in nice and good. And then you want to tighten them down like that as well. So the way we make these bead locks is, this is a ring that is cut out with a plasma table. I do not cut out these bead locks myself. I do cut out the rock rings myself. The ring you want to fit as close as possible in the inside lip of your wheel. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, tack weld it centered, and then you weld this completely around and then grind it solid. And make sure you go do a little weld here, do a weld over here, here, skip around, keep that heat out of the wheel because you do not want to warp it. You get these holes plasmaed out at 3/16, and then all you have to do is clean the holes up and tap them for 1/4 20, and then on the outside ring you either drill them out to 1/4 inch or a little bit over, so it's a little bit easier to get the bolts lined up. And then you have a bead lock. It's super easy. I have all of these templates from, like, these are from the aluminum wheels on the golf cart. These are the little heart templates that I made from, and this is really just like I drilled 2 holes and then cut it with the plasma cutter and fouled it up, and then that was able to make both the hearts for Serene's wheels. These are all the centers of making front bead lock. This is that hexagon for the center of those wheels on the golf cart. So like, it's all, I've made so many of these. The majority of them are rock rings. So if you're making bead locks, I highly recommend you go get hooked up with your local either plasma or laser shop and just go and pay them the money, have them cut you out a ring, and you're good to go. If you're doing rock rings, they do not have to be very symmetrical. And you see all these little cutouts that I have, they all have a little hole in the center. And this is how I go about making these, is you make yourself a flat iron like this, that the center hole will get lined up with the template, and then you drill your bigger holes for the plasma tip to fit. So all you gotta do is put a bolt in the center and you drag this around the circumference. You cut the outside ring first and then you cut your inside ring second. Unfortunately, I do not have a front 8-inch wheel to show you what that looks like. But now if you don't have a plasma cutter, you can go ahead and do this with a jigsaw. I know AC Mountain Man used an angle grinder to do his fake beadlock rock rings. So unfortunately, I don't have any rock rings that I'm making currently, so I can't really show you the exact process. So ultimately, if you're going to be hand making rock rings for your tractor, ATV, golf cart, go-kart, anything really, it's it's a lot of work. As if you're not making just a simple ring like this and you're putting a design into it, you have to mark out every little detail that you want to cut, and then you either need to make a jig of some sort or make some sort of guide to be able to cut out that ring how you want. You got to pre-drill the holes before you go ahead and cut it out, because if you don't, the heat warps it so much, then it's real difficult to clamp down the piece to drill all the holes. So there's a lot of different things, variables. If you have a plasma table, if you have access to a shop that has a plasma table or a laser table, highly suggest you get them done there. But it is possible for you to do it at home. If you don't have a plasma cutter, like I said, you could do it with a jigsaw, a angle grinder. It is doable. It's just a lot of work. And if you're doing beadlocks, it's even more work, because things have to actually be pretty precise, and all your holes got to line up, and it's got to be pretty symmetrical, or else your tire is going to be all wonky and you're going to be going like bouncing while you're driving and stuff like that. But guys, if you want to actually see me make a set of rock rings or beadlocks, please let me know. I'll do a second video of showing you actually what all the measurements are and all that jazz. But until then, guys, we're going down to Good Evening Ranch next month. Top Tractor Challenge, King of the Ranch, October 18th through the 20th. Check out my other videos. Check me out on Red02 on Facebook for updates. We're doing like multiple updates weekly. There's $500 cash prize for the winner, and about $500 more worth of prizes and stuff sponsored in for competitors. And you don't even have to compete. If you just want to come down and watch, we are giving away close to $500 in merchandise and products from sponsorships to lucky spectators. So guys, once again, let me know if you want to see some actual rock ring or beadlock making, and I hope to see you guys at Top Tractor Challenge 2024 King of the Ranch. Until next time, guys, have a wonderful day.